Aloha, Coach Thane coming to you from SportsFizz headquarters in beautiful downtown Hilo, as evidenced by the Koki in the background. This is the 2014 BIIF Football Preview Show version 2.0. After Tropical Storm Iselle rolled through the Hawaiian Islands and games were canceled statewide, many of the interviews we had done for the preview show were no longer relevant. So we went back through, edited it, and brought it current. Let's start off by taking a look at Division I. Now Hilo, they won the championship in Division I last year. Kealakehe was second, Waiakea third, and Keaau finished fourth. So let's start off our preview of Division I by talking to Hilo head coach Dave Baldwin. Okay, here we are at Viking Field with Coach Dave Baldwin, head coach of the Vikings, and third year in the program, Coach. Kind of a progression that we see. First year, you kind of write the program, regain some credibility, get back to the BIIF championships. Last year, you are the BIIF champions. You play Campbell in a tough opening state game. Looked like it was going to happen for a while, and then we lost it late. But you know, hey, we know that you're going to take it one game at a time, and you got to win the BIIFs first. But ultimately, you know, the goal that you've got to set is to get into the States this year and not only get there, but notch that first Division I win.
Yeah, we're a long ways from that, but we definitely think that if we can get our fundamentals down and technique really solid throughout this preseason, then we can continue to build progression like we did last season. Mm-hmm. I think our defense was solid to us all through the year. We struggled at times on offense. I think this year might be a role reversal of such, but we do know that our defense needs to get solid and fundamentally be sound in that game. Mm-hmm. Because eventually every game like we did last year, we want to continue to improve every step along the way. Mm-hmm. Because we do have sub-goals, whether it's the BIIF, and we do have overarching goals for us, which is that first-round playoff team. But we know, understand that every day we just got to get better. And hopefully the program's pointed in that progressional direction, in that losing the BIIF, winning the BIIF, losing the state playoff. You know, we'll hopefully continue that progression and maybe someday do something special.
We're looking forward to that. Now, you know, you lost a lot of talent to graduation, but you did have some juniors that performed very well last year. So who are the seniors that we are looking to for leadership this year?
I think we're looking at our secondary learning so much from that Campbell game. Mm-hmm. That they will be that backbone of our team. We've got a couple of guys and seniors to be coming up this year with Kui Reese. You know, going from corner to safety and being able and having that ability and flexibility to play two positions. Mm-hmm. I think Melvin Keaau is playing corner and free for us this year, and we expect a lot of good things from him, being one of our faster athletes on the team. And that secondary has all been playing in our system for 3 years now, and we return all 4 starters. So I think that's the area we look at having the most progression out of there on defense and being able to kind of anchor that defense.
Now, last year on offense, kind of had a rotational quarterback thing going. This year, are we going to see the same, or is you know, what's going on? Is Sione going to be your man?
I think we looked at it. We talked about it as a staff. In our system, the players have a lot of input. I love a democratic process. Sure. I love our team to be involved, and I love the players to have a say in where they're going and what they're doing. And if it falls within our beliefs as coaches, we give those kids that sense of ownership. So coming out into this year with all that said, Sione is going into the season as our #1 quarterback. But Donovan's just too talented to leave on the sidelines. Sure. So he's going to be all over the place. Right. And we have not ruled out the fact of him playing quarterback. I think he gives us different option for teams. But we're glad to finally to get a quarterback that's above the 6-foot mark that can see over our O-line. So that's a good thing. But we're really looking at Sione to being that pillar and that foundation and setting that pace for us on offense as a leader. Because we believe we've got a excellent running game returning with Tristan Spikes. We truly believe he's one of the best backs on the island, and that as the season goes on with strength and conditioning and just reps and getting into a rhythm, we think he can prove himself to be one of the best backs in the state. And if we do that, then it opens up our passing game. And we've got a bunch of good receivers. This is the first time, I think, in Hilo High's history that if we line up everybody healthy, this is the first time we can put 5 skilled players all across the line that are 6 feet and over.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, I mean, we're known for small and scrappy for sure. So when we get that big crew, it makes us happy. Now, you know, certainly it's a big task ahead of you to repeat. It always is. The target's on your back, but and I'm sure you don't let the media guys put any pressure on you. But certainly we see you as the favorites, expect you to be in the championship, and expect you to actually represent the Big Island at the States and get that first win for us, Coach. So we thank you for spending some time, and I'd love to put the pressure on you. This is Coach Dave Baldwin from Hilo. Thanks again, Coach.
Mahalo to Coach Baldwin for taking some time to talk to us about the 2014 Hilo Vikings. Now let's take a look at some of the highlights of the key players that he'll be counting on this year.
Hilo will rely heavily on a rushing attack, which features senior running back Tristan Spikes, the co-offensive player of the year in Division I last year. Big play linebacker senior Ofa Fahiawa will be called upon to lead the Viking defense, much like he did last year in this game against Kealakehe, where he had 2 picks, 1 returned for a touchdown. Sione Tuikaho is projected to start at QB. But we'll see an awful lot of Donovan Kelly all over the field, defense, offense, wherever he can help the team. And Coach Baldwin certainly has a QB package that we may see from time to time featuring Donovan Kelly. Again, good returning senior leadership for the Vikings.
Hilo, with key returnees at important positions and significant depth, have to be the favorites to repeat as BIIF Division I champions this year. Now let's head over to Kealakehe and talk to Coach Sam Kay and see who he's relying on to lead the Kealakehe Wave Riders in 2014.
I see some juniors coming up that can really help out. How does that look as far as the underclassmen?
Sure. Yeah, it looks good. We've got, like you said, Riggs, Inipayo. I think there's other underclassmen at last year returning. Like on the ends, we got Joseph Kaupua, we've got Isaac Keaau. We've got, of course, returning at quarterback, Kaimi Wilson. We've got Penny Kalavi, his younger brother, hopefully stepping up as well too. Jordan Giddens, who's on the line, and many others. Josiah Kia, Anthony Vieira. I think we've got quite the depth coming in this year.
Now let's talk about Kaimi and the quarterback situation a little bit. Last year, you know, Kaimi started out, Keone came in, and they were back and forth, and there was some, you know, in games, you know, where they both got to play. What's your philosophy as far as utilizing the quarterback? How do you look for 2014 to play out there?
We're going to definitely utilize the quarterback position a little more. Kaimi should be prepared in running the spread this year, so we're excited about that. We've also got backing him up at quarterback. We have Marcus the Great, Sequoia, Iona. So it looks like we'll be prepared. Well, hopefully we'll be prepared. So, and then I think I think overall, I think we'll just we're trying to preach a team effort to to the boys and not really isolate any one particular player. So, you know, that's basically our theme: one team, one heart, one mind, one band. So, hopefully, that we can carry that out throughout the season.
Yeah, now you mentioned a couple of the players I was interested in talking about. You know, the Kalavai brothers. You know, I mean, just looking at the film, Penny looks to be probably, you know, in my estimation, the top tackle in the league. You know, and looking forward to him to take the next step and really kind of set himself apart. Do you see him working towards that?
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. But then again, we've got Jordan Giddens too. We've got some really good underclassmen that are stepping up to the plate. Real young, BJ Mareko, Anthony Vieira, Josiah Kia, and of course Penny's younger brother, Abraham Kalavi. So
And then, you know, on the back, we have the defensive back end. We've got Shaden Levy returning. We've got Louis Garcia returning, and also Keaau Myers. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys that were underclassmen last year that got some significant playing time that are going to step forward. I know you already talked about Joseph and Isaac at the end, so they were very disruptive last year, and I don't see that changing this year. I expect you to look for more and better things from them.
Absolutely. They're definitely ready. The key is for us is being academically eligible. So, and it's probably the same for most of the other teams out there. But if we can get academically eligible and stay physically healthy, I think that's a big key for us. Sure.
Well, I think academic eligibility is a big thing for every player, every coach on the Big Island. It's a big thing for me in terms of doing what I do. So, I'm glad we're trying to stay on top of that. Now,
I think Honokaa is really, they've got a lot of kids coming out. I think they're pretty tough. And I think Konawaina is definitely coached really well by Cliff Walters and their OC out there, Brad. I think Waiakea definitely will be ready this year, coached by Moku.
I agree.
And they've been really, it seems like they've been making some great improvements and changes to their program, not to mention their field.
Right. No,
I
agree with you on that. I think they're going to be challenging.
I think there's a lot of excitement on that side. I think Dave Baldwin is definitely excited and highly motivated to want to repeat what he did. So I think this year for us, in my opinion, it's going to be a battle every game. And, regardless of what, other people might think, as far as, the greater teams and the lesser teams, for our boys, the goal is to get to that stadium. The goal is to get to that one game of the season, that final game. And so it's going to take, for us, we see taking it each, we can't skip the learning process. So, it's going to take one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and we've got that planned out for us right now.
Well, Coach, very diplomatic. I wouldn't have expected you to say anything else, but we certainly look forward to covering you this season and look forward to what the Wave Riders are able to do on the field. So good luck, and thanks for spending some time.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay, that's Coach Sam from Kealakehe, and we'll look forward to the work that the Wave Riders do this year.
I'm sure that Coach Sam and the staff at Kealakehe will have this young team coached up and ready to play. And one of the players they'll be counting on is sophomore running back Riggs Kurashige. Let's get his thoughts on the 2014 season.
We're here with Kealakehe running back Riggs Kurashige, and pound for pound, I think one of the toughest players in the BIIF, certainly one of my favorite players to watch in terms of highlighting. And last year, Riggs, as a sophomore, you got called up to the varsity, and you had a really good season as a freshman on JV, but were you surprised to get the call up to varsity?
Yeah, I was, because I was only a sophomore, and they needed some players, so I just went up.
Well, not only did you go up, but you actually became a key part of the offense, and you actually showed up and had some stats. Were you surprised at the amount of, number one, you're a little bit surprised that you get called up. Number two, I mean, you're not the biggest guy in the world, okay, so let's be honest. But you get called up, you make the varsity team, and then additionally, were you surprised at how much you got used and how much playing time you got?
I just trusted in my hard work and on the off season and just played football.
Okay, well, I mean, that's the bottom line. I tell people all the time, it's really not, it's not how tall you are, it's not how wide you are, it's how much brain power you have, how much mental toughness you have, and what's in here. So certainly you've got plenty of those two qualities. Now,
they say good things come in small packages. That certainly is the case with junior running back Riggs Kurashige of Kealakehe, who proved last year that he can hang with the big boys. Let's check out some of his action from last year.
Another sophomore that showed up well on tape last year for Kealakehe was D lineman Isaac Keaau, a disruptive force. Let's get his thoughts on the 2014 season.
Okay, another player that showed up on the tape well last year that we expect big things from for the Wave Riders is Isaac Keaau. Now, Isaac, you're only a junior coming into this year, but you made a significant impact on defense. We're an all BIIF player, so we expect bigger and better things from you this year. And since you had so much exposure last year, really coming in as a junior, we can almost look at you as a senior in terms of typical progression. So let me ask you this, are you ready to kind of step into more of a leadership role and make even a bigger impact on defense than you did last year?
Yes, I think I'm ready to step up and show the team that I'm ready to do whatever it takes to take this team as far as we can go, you know. Right now our goals are not just set on taking back the BIIF, but taking states or getting to past first round, which hasn't been done in Kealakehe in forever. So, yeah.
Well, let's be honest, it's never been done in the history of the Big Island, and we're looking for that breakthrough. So, I mean, I think that's the attitude we like to see you taking into the season. Now, one of the things about having, you know, along with Joseph and some of the other players that you have and some of the linebackers that you have behind you, it really makes it a little bit easier on that defensive backfield, and we start to see some more picks. Is that something you guys actively talk about, kind of setting up the linebackers and defensive backs to do their job?
Yeah, what the D-line is supposed to do is we're just trying to rush the pass just so that the quarterback has to make a decision quicker, and the quicker he makes the decision, the more mistakes he might make, and that sets up our linebackers for an interception, possibly a touchdown.
Junior defensive end Isaac Keaau will be called upon to control the line of scrimmage and put pressure on the quarterback. Let's check out some highlights from last year.
Although Kealakehe will be a young team this year, they have a lot of experience, and we expect them to challenge for a berth in the BIIF championship game this year. Now let's head over to Waiakea and talk to second-year head coach Moku Pita and see what's up with the Warriors of 2014.
Okay, we're here at Waiakea with Coach Moku Pita. Fourth year in the program, Coach, but second year as head coach. So you've probably got your system installed. You probably have a coaching staff that you're more comfortable with. How do you feel going into the 2014 season?
Feel pretty good. The program that I'm trying to install is about 75 to 80% where I think it should be right now. My staff is pretty good this year, so we look pretty good.
Now, who are some of the key players that we should look for on both offense and defense to lead the Warriors this year?
Key players, running back. Well, I kind of got like 6 running backs this year, so the tandem is. But the one should be starting is Pono, the 11th grader, and then we got big Zach Divella anchoring the tackle. On defense, we have Robert Aku as our defensive tackle, and Zach Carrera will be leading the DBs this year.
Now, I know Pono's used to running without the pads on a little bit as a rugby player, but, you know, he looked pretty good last year as a sophomore doing some work for you guys. So I expect once he gets the pads on this year with the additional experience he's had, you guys are really looking forward to, you know, him carrying a big load.
Yeah, I'm real impressed with what he can do without the pads and with the pads on now. So I look for him to lead the way for the running backs.
Now, one of the things about Waiakea, it's a big baseball school, and sometimes that ends up jamming you up quarterback-wise. I know you're waiting for last year's starter to get back from doing some baseball. So what's up with the quarterback position going into the preseason?
Preseason, we're gonna put a senior Kai Fajaran. We kind of just put him in that position. We didn't have a quarterback, being that our quarterback was an all-star baseball player. So he won't be having enough time in pads to play at least the first 2 preseason games. Kai's been pretty good for us this past summer, so I'm looking for him to do a real good job.
Now let's take a look at some highlights of the players that Coach Moku will be counting on in 2014. And hear from Warrior Pono Avai Lanford.
Senior cornerback Zach Correa led the league in interceptions last year with 7, and Coach Moku is relying on him to be a leader on defense. Senior left tackle Zachary Davila is the anchor for Waiakea's offensive line and will look to provide the quarterback with time to throw while opening holes for running backs like Pono Avai Lanford. Now Pono's a dual threat. In addition to playing running back, we'll see him a lot on defense, and let's hear how he feels about that.
Okay, here we are with one of the key players for Waiakea this year, Pono Avai Lanford. And Pono, last year you were on varsity and you showed up pretty well, but you spent the season running around without pads playing rugby. Are you ready to make the transition back to regular football coming up?
Yeah, can't wait to hit. That's what I'm just so happy about right now.
And here we see Pono prove that he is in fact a two-way player and does like to hit.
Coach Moku has the Warriors practicing at a crisp and efficient pace, which may translate to more wins in 2014. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see them challenging for the BIIF championship. Now let's head over to Keaau and talk to new head coach Kalei Young.
Okay, we're here with new head coach at Keaau, Kalei Young. And Kalei, last couple of years, in fact, a couple of years ago, Keaau was in the championship game for the D1 a couple of years in a row. Last year, a down year, late season coaching change, which ultimately resulted in you taking over the program. So how does it feel to be the new head coach of the Keaau Cougars?
Oh, well, it feels great. I mean, this would be my 9th year here at Keaau, and, I've really made a connection with this community, this school. I mean, I live in this community. My kids grew up here, and so, it just seems fitting to be here, I've known Iris since I first started 9 years ago, and being fortunate to be a part of Leo Abilero's staff and also Mike's staff, and and eventually now here I am.
Well, I mean, certainly when you bring that passion, to the sport and to the program, that can help. Now, numbers are small right now, but I think that's pretty typical for Keaau. I know Kona's in the same boat. When you have kids that live across a broad range, typically until the buses start running, you can't get everybody onto the field. So, Monday you expect to have everybody in school. How many more kids do you expect to show up?
We're looking at least another 15 to 20 kids showing up between Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday is the first day for freshmen, and Wednesday sophomores to seniors will be in class. So we're looking to get at least another 15 to 20 kids, maybe more. Some kids that we don't know that transferred yet. But, as far as a lot of kids that's been on last year's roster, a lot of these kids live so far away that it's really hard to get here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing every year. Now, as
Yeah.
far as this season's concerned, who are the leaders? Who are you looking for to step up and guide the team?
Oh, we've got a good handful of leaders. As a coach, I always look for that leader who's the epicenter of the program and is the voice of the coaches. And Kuopaka Vieira is throughout this whole off season, missing last season with a torn ACL. He's just on fire this year, so he's really grasped the hold of the leadership role. He's been the leader through all out off season. Justin Quesada is just such an athlete. He embraces the leadership well, as well by example. And we have Maurice Smith, who's been blossoming over these past couple of years, and he's really come into his own this year. And we got a couple of guys that Derek Kalani, his first year playing football, but he's really been just an animal out here, a leader as well as a leader by example, and he just never quits, and of course Richie is going to be our quarterback, and he's really embraced that, for a while. Last year Georgie Lucas Tadeo, he had to go back to Texas, and it was a quick, you know, for the team, it was a surprise, and Richie just stepped up into the role and didn't even phase him. So, you know, him stepping up this year, same thing. You know, it doesn't phase him. He's rock solid in his head. He's completely emotionless, you know, and he gives his 100%, you know, all the time. So, I mean, those handful of guys with the unity that these guys have, you know, is really excited to see that, you know, come into fruition once the season starts, you know.
It looks like Coach Young is ready to take on the challenge of being the new head coach of the Keaau Cougars. Certainly one of the players he'll be relying on in 2014 is senior running back Justin Quesada. Let's get Justin's thoughts on the 2014 Keaau Cougars.
We're here with Justin Quesada, a member of the Keaau Cougars, and last couple of years, whether it's been on JV or varsity, Justin's been a top performer. But Justin, last year, a bit of a down year. What have you guys been doing during the off season to maybe make up for that and have a better season this year?
Right now, we don't have much guys. We didn't have much guys on off season, but we had a lot of new faces coming, and our coach has just been pushing us inside the weight room a lot. Each position has their own workouts, and we're hoping that each workout just pushes them and gets them stronger and get them more competitive in the game.
Okay, well, last year we know it was a down year, but this year, obviously you're doing some things to try to turn that around and make some improvement. Who's leading the team, and how do you expect to put a better product on the field this year?
We have a lot of leaders on this team. We have a leader in every position, I think. But right now, our head leader is probably like me or Kopaka or Richard Kakaole. They're big impact players inside of our team, and right now a lot of the players are looking up to us right now.
Keaau will rely on running back Justin Quesada for senior leadership, and based on these highlights, it's clear he leads by example.
Well, that's our look at Division I, and from the champion to the last place team, optimism reigns, and it should be an exciting season. But now let's talk about Division II. Last year it was Kona taking the championship for the third year in a row, followed by HPA, Kamehameha, and Honokaa. Let's start off by talking to offensive coordinator from Konawaina, Brad Uemoto, about the 2014 Wildcats.
We're here with Coach Brad Uemoto, the offensive coordinator of Konawaina High School. Normally I'd be talking to Coach Cliff Walters, but he was called away for an emergency. So Brad is the interim head coach, at least today, if not for the rest of the week or so. So we're going to get his opinion on the upcoming 2014 season. Now, Brad, certainly you guys come in as the three-time defending Division II BIIF champions. Arguably should have had at least one state game under your belts as well, in my opinion. What's it going to take to get back to that level this year?
I honestly feel, you know, it's going to be a tough road to get back there. Being on top for 3 years, definitely, you know, it's like the Miami Heat where you come in every weekend, you're getting in their A game from your opponent every single time. And you know, we got talent, I mean, all over the island. You go to camps and you see talent galore all over these teams, and we just got to continue to keep coaching and try to keep that edge over other teams.
Well, I know that you know, certainly you lost some talent from last year, but I also know that you guys aren't going to lay down. And based on the summer program and talking to the kids and seeing what the kids are doing, you know, nobody's coming in with the attitude of we're not competing for that championship. I'm sure you agree with that.
Right. I think going to the state game at Kaiser was a big wake-up call for our program. We sat after that loss, wondering how we could get to that level and actually compete at the state level. And one of the things we talked about was organizing an off-season program, and that was a big goal of ours to do. And it was going to take a lot of work. It was spearheaded by John Kaivi, myself, and Pepa Sato, and we did a good job starting them early. We still got to fine-tune it and make it, valuable to us through the season in terms of timing and all of that. But it was a start, and we're going to see what kind of benefits it reaps this year. So it's yet to, we're yet to see what it does.
Well, I think that, really a lot of teams on the Big Island are kind of, shifting the focus maybe from self-competition to, hey, okay, let's get that state game, finally out of the way. I mean, we've won some, but I mean, Division I, it's never happened. At Division II, it hasn't happened enough. It seems like that's the attitude that we're moving forward. And I see other teams doing the same thing. And I think as we move forward into next year and beyond that, we'll have a tighter summer program, more 7-on-7 and more organized activities. And I think that's going to benefit everybody. Now, as far as 2014, I mean, who are the guys? I kind of know who some of the key guys are, but, you never know the guys that slide up from JV that are sleepers. Who are the key guys on both sides of the ball that we're really relying on here for the Wildcats?
Well, I'm going to start with the offensive line. I think that's a big point of emphasis for our offense every year. And we've been lucky to get away with undersized kids. And I think this year we're definitely talented in that area. They've put the work in. We've got some guys with experience. Obviously Zach Kaivi, he's just a sophomore, but he's got a full season of varsity under his belt as a freshman. He's attended Derby camp all summer and gotten his technique and confidence there, and he's brought that home with him and brought it to a group here with some guys who filled in last year and shared all that technique that he learned, and including Coach John brought it here with him, and John spearheading the offensive line. And I think we're going to see good things out of them. Obviously, we got Bubba Ellis on both sides of the ball at running back. Slot, he's dipped into the receiver's position and linebacker. Kevin Medeiros is another two-way starter for us. He's just steady all over. Cameron Howes is going to be on defense all over. He's filling at quarterback at times. Shelton Grace, also a guy who got minimal minutes last year, but we're expecting him to step in and kind of take over what Brandon Howes did last year. So, Lena Santiago, we got guys all over the defense that, got some big minutes for us last year, and I think we're expecting a lot out of them.
Now, we talk about the O-line, and I think that's going to be important because the quarterback position isn't completely solidified, and you guys are going to be experimenting with that a little bit early on. So, having that confidence in the O-line kind of helps that younger, newer quarterback out quite a bit.
Right. Shelton's he's more of a pocket passer type where he's going to depend on protection. Cameron's just going to run all over, and whether the line blocks for him or not, he's going to make something happen. And so it also is obviously it's a little change for the offensive line with who's behind center, and that's something for them to get used to. But we're definitely trying to focus on that, because nothing out on the with the receivers or running backs get done without them up front. So.
Sure.
Thanks to Coach Brad for taking some time to talk to us about the 2014 Wildcats. Now let's look at some highlights of some of the key players and talk to Luka Bartek and Cameron Howes.
Now, one of the players Coach Walters will be relying on this year on both sides of the field is senior Bubba Ellis Noah. Whether it's at running back or linebacker, he's going to be a leader for the Wildcats.
Okay, another key performer for the Konawaina Wildcats this year is going to be Luka Vartek. Let's talk a little bit about last year, Luka. You were a wide receiver. You were an all-league wide receiver, primarily because of the yards after catch, and your yards per catch were significant, probably one of the top yards per catch in the state. In addition to being an all-league wide receiver, Luka also was a track star, so you were the 100-meter championship in BIIFs, also went to state and took the silver medal. So not only does he have football skills, but he's got some speed to go with it. Now, last year, playing wide receiver, you made a contribution, certainly, but a lot of times you're standing on the sideline. What are we doing this year to maybe correct that and maybe look at playing some defense?
So I was looking to be a dual threat this year, so I trained in Oahu with Kealakehe for 5 weeks, put on about 20 pounds, sharpened my DB skills. And
last year we saw Luka do a lot of damage on offense. This year, even this old wide receiver coach says, hey, if you can play wide receiver, then you can probably play some pretty good DB, and you might as well be on the defensive side of the ball, because every play on defense you can make a tackle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the problem with wide receiver. You know, you get targeted 20 times a season. You know, the rest of the time you're doing some blocking, you're standing around not helping the team. So it's good to see you get on defense. So we'll look forward to Luka performing as a dual threat. Offense, defense, wide receiver, running back, returner, whatever it takes to win the championship. Right, Luka?
Yes, sir.
All right.
While he was a top performer for the Wildcats as a sophomore in 2013, Luka Vartek looks to make a bigger impact on both sides of the field for the Wildcats in 2014.
Okay, another key performer for Konawaina last year who's expected to play an even bigger role this year is Cameron Howes. Now, Cameron, as a sophomore last year, were you surprised at the amount of playing time that you got?
Well, you know, coming into Konawaina as a sophomore, coming out of Kamehameha as a ninth grader, I just had to put in a lot of work because I knew what type of players and what type of work they're going to be pushing out here, so that way I can get myself into the field and into the game with them.
Well, I mean, certainly you got into the game and you got on the field, but more so than that, you showed up on the film. So, you know, at slot back, you know, a lot of big plays. Let me ask you about this. I mean, how was it to play high school football with your brother and have those hookups where you were able to get into the end zone and score the touchdown?
Man, me and my brother go way back since Pop Warner. It's been house to house a lot. So it's a blessing to have him, and I'm just grateful to have him as a quarterback where I can get open and get the ball right in my hands.
Yeah. So I mean, as a big part of the highlights that we saw last year was the house-to-house connection. We're going to see you play both ways. We expect that. We also hear that, you know, we may see it be the signal caller, at least in the preseason, to get that figured out, doing some work at QB. What did you do this summer to prepare to play a greater role, not only from the standpoint of being an athlete, but maybe being a leader?
Well, first off, I think my coaches, they had us at the weight room on this field early in the morning, every single day, all summer long. Also, I had to thank my parents for sending me some great camps out in Oahu. I was at that GPA camp, you should know, and that was great work, great exposure, and yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the GPA camp, because again, you know, credit to your parents to be able to invest the money to get you out there, but you're able to interact with some top level coaches at all levels of college football and make some contacts. Has that been something that's you've been able to follow up with and maintain some contact with a few of those coaches?
Yeah, those coaches, they followed up with me. They got my emails and we got each other's contacts, so we definitely keep in touch.
Now, my favorite part of the entire GPA camp experience was at the end of the camp, they had a 7-on-7, and Cameron, that's okay, right? Cameron was a little bit dinged up early in the camp and wasn't able to make the impression that second day where you kind of caught the coach's eye to get into that final 7-on-7 period. And so we started the 7-on-7 period. We had a couple of Big Island guys there, and next thing you know,
I see the lime green that spells Cameron Howes sneaking into the lineup. I thought, oh, they called him up. Come to find out that you just took it on yourself to step in and get a few plays with the big boys. What was up with that?
Well, to be honest, in the beginning they called everyone's name, and I was really surprised that they didn't pick me because my work and what I've been putting in the days before. So I just took it upon myself to step in there and put my work in and make sure those coaches, they saw and they knew who should have been in there.
Right on. Well, I mean, I appreciated that attitude, and certainly when you got in there, you showed that you belonged. You got a couple targets, and we had a couple that could have been big highlights had we made that connection. But it was good fun to see.
Another sophomore that had a big impact for the Wildcats in 2013 was Cameron Howes. We expect to see him all over the field in 2014, slot back, quarterback, cornerback, etc. Here's some highlights from 2013.
We certainly expect Coach Walters and his staff to have the Wildcats ready to compete in 2014. But there will be 3 other Division II teams gunning for that crown. One of those teams will be the HPA Kamehameha. Let's head up to Waiakea and talk to Coach Hayslip.
Okay, Coach Thing with Coach Hayslip from HPA here. And Coach, probably the thing that most people are interested in finding out about HPA this year is who's going to be running the ball. It seems like your whole running game graduated.
Right, in the name of Bobby Lum, right? Yeah, Bobby was a great rusher for us last year, but we have some guys stepping in this year that we think are going to do a good job. There's Alex Brost, Kanoa Chobani, 2 upperclassmen. Alex a junior, Kanoa's a senior, and then Caleb Kagawa is another good hard running fullback for us. So with those 3, in our backfield, I think we're pretty solid.
I think Alex might have surprised a few people last year, particularly later in the season, in terms of just his athleticism and wherever he was put.
Right, absolutely. I think he actually did play every single position for us on defense, and then which is a testament to his athletic ability. And then, offensively, he did have a couple carries, and rushing touchdown or 2 for us. So yeah, he showed us some spark last year as a sophomore, and we're looking for good things this year.
Now, as far as the team's concerned this year, again, you lost a bunch of seniors. Who kind of steps up in the leadership role this year? Who replaces, the Bobby Lums, et cetera?
I think, definitely Koa. Ellis is a quarterback in that position. Obviously, you're going to, you'd like to have a leader, and Koa is exactly that. He's a great senior leader for us. And he's just a football player. I was joking with him that we could put him at left tackle, and he'd still know what to do and he'd give us a fighting chance. I mean, he'll do whatever we ask of him, and he's a great leader for us on and off the field. And other seniors, Nicky Paleshi, Caleb Kagawa, those guys are going to be great senior leaders for us too.
Now, you hosted Waimea last year, getting ready to head out and play them this weekend. Storm-related, kind of lucky that you didn't have an early preseason game, didn't have to put up with that cancellation type thing. So how do you feel about going to Waimea this weekend?
We're feeling good. I mean, it was a good physical football game with them last year here. Both teams, running the ball a lot on the ground. So, and we're, looking for the same type of, tough physical game this year, which I think is good for a preseason game. And we're looking forward to it. It's always fun to travel. So.
Well, Coach Hayslip is certainly optimistic about the 2014 Kamehameha. 2 of the reasons for his optimism are key returnees Nicky Paleshi and Koa Ellis. Let's talk to them and see what they have to say about the 2014 season and see some highlights.
Coach Thane here at HPA with Nicky Pileshi, last year a two-way player, all-league wide receiver, honorable mention at the state level, probably should have been an all-league defensive end as well. Big player, big playmaker, but typically you only get nominated on one side when you play at HPA. We appreciate that, but certainly going to be counted on to produce big time this year because you lost a lot of seniors. You've been practicing for a few weeks. How's the team looking so far?
Really solid. We have about 40 guys out here, which is the most I've ever seen for HPA football. And even though we lost probably almost 20 seniors last year, we've had a lot of guys step up, and we're looking really solid, actually. I'm really excited for this season. Hopefully we're going to surprise some people.
Nicky Pileshi made a lot of big plays on both sides of the ball in 2013 for the Kamehameha, and we expect more from him in 2014 at both the flex tight end position and from the defensive end position. Nicky's probably one of the top college prospects in the entire BIIF.
Okay, we're here with Koa Ellis, and last year, successful season, Koa, and one of a few players certainly on this island. You see it sometimes at small schools, but to be the starting QB and also play significant reps at DB. Now, I hear from Nicky, you got a few more players coming out this year. Is that something you expect to continue this year as full-time QB and then stepping in a lot at DB as well?
I'm pretty sure I'll be stepping in for defense at least at the start of the season, but we have some upcoming people that will probably fill in for me.
Let's talk about what kind of challenge that is. To me, basically, I think everybody agrees that the quarterback is the most important, most complex, most difficult position on the field, and to be challenged with that, number one, and then have to at times, if the situation dictates, just stay on the field and step into that DB role. How do you do that?
I mean, we condition a lot up here. I mean, it's high elevation too, and before practice, or right now we have 2 weeks of two-a-day practices for our camp, and we condition a lot. So I feel like anyone on our team could do it just for our conditioning.
Look, you lose Bobby Lum, and automatically you're assuming, okay, you look at the roster and you think, okay, a little more passing heavy because, you do have Nicky, you do have Justin. I mean, both performers. You lost Gillens, but, those seemed like were the core last year. So you got two of those guys coming back, and arguably they're going to get better. So, I'm certainly thinking you're going to pass more. Is that kind of the idea you're going in with?
Yeah, this year, probably more passing just because we lost like Bobby Lum, our star running back, and we have 2 or 3 good receivers right now, and they want to play. Yeah, they're coming to play.
Sure.
The Kamehameha offense will be led by senior quarterback Koa Ellis, senior hooking up with one of his favorite targets, Justin Perry. In addition to playing QB, Koa is also a key member of the Kamehameha secondary, as tough a two-way task as anybody has in the BIIF.
Now, we always expect HPA to field a smart and tough team, and 2014 should be no exception. Now let's head back to the east side and catch up with head coach Dan Lyons of Kamehameha and get his outlook on the 2014 season.
We're here with Coach Dan Lyons of Kamehameha, preparing for a scrimmage against Waiakea. Now, Dan, fourth year in the position. And, at this point you've got probably the coaching staff that you want, the system in place. How do you feel about the Warriors going into the 2014 season?
Yeah, I think, we're always trying to get our coaching staff in place. We're always looking for new coaches and looking how we can develop that. It's my second year as the offensive coordinator also, so I think we're got our system in, at least the first foundation of our system. I think we got great players, and I'm excited about the year. We like our team. We like the guys we have, hardworking guys, good senior leadership. We're excited.
Well, when I look at the teams before the season and try to figure out in my mind where everybody might finish, one of the things I look at are returnees and returnees at key positions. And I look at some of the skill positions on offense. I look at a three-year starter at QB and some of the returning wide receivers and running backs that you have. And, I think, you're right there at the top in terms of competing for the championship. Who are some of the key players that you're looking forward to stepping up?
Well, obviously our quarterback, Micah Kanehailua. He's kind of the key to what we're doing as far as just running things and taking responsibility. It's fortunate or very lucky to have a three-year starting quarterback in high school football. So, we rely a lot on his ability to make decisions and run what we want him to run. Then Alapaki Iaia, receiver, I think he's been playing varsity for 3 years also. There's kind of a core group of guys and receivers that have been playing. James Sloan, we'll see Caleb Baptiste a little bit as receiver. So those guys, will step up, and I'm sure they'll have great seasons this year. We're real excited about Chase Pennicoat at running back. I think, my feeling we should be able to, run the ball like we ran last year and not miss a beat. Even though we miss a powerful running back, I think Chase brings all of that, maybe a little bit more shiftiness, a little more speed, a little bit more just, missability kind of thing. And then you also see a lot of Keaau Batakan, who's going to play running back for us and some real quick and be able to get outside a little bit. So we feel like in our skill positions we're pretty good.
I was talking to Mike a little bit earlier, and it seems like at least the head coach and the quarterback are on the same page as who the key players are. Talking to Chase the other day, and I agree with you. I think he has a big year. What about on defense? Who's the leaders?
Well, I think defense, we're kind of surrounded by Pono Davis. Pono was all BIIF player last year. He's going to play that one technique for us and just kind of fill up the middle. Big kid, strong. He's one of the guys that we have is maybe a D1 player, and so he's the base of that and just the foundation of our defense.
Now, of all the Division II teams, Kamehameha has key returnees at very important positions, and we certainly expect them to challenge for the championship. One of the reasons for this is three-year starter at QB, Micah Kanehailua. Let's get his thoughts on the 2014 season.
Okay, we're here at Waiakea Field. Going to have a scrimmage here in a few moments between Waiakea and Kamehameha. But lucky enough to have Kamehameha three-year starter at QB, Micah Kanehailua, here to talk to us. And Micah, you put in a lot of work this summer. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you did to prepare for this season?
Well, this summer I had the opportunity to go to the Manning Pass Academy in Thibodaux, Louisiana. It was a astonishing, great, amazing experience for me, and I got to learn side by side with Peyton Manning, Bryce Petty, Baylor quarterback, and also a lot of very big name collegiate athletes. So it was a great experience for me.
Yeah, I think we saw a picture of you with Marcus Mariota on Facebook or Instagram or one of the two. Now, in addition to doing that, you also made it to the GPA Max Exposure Camp on Oahu. What type of experience was that for you?
It was a great experience for me because of the fact that I got to compete with the top quarterbacks in the state, pretty much. Mackenzie Milton, Tua Tagovailoa from St. Louis. It was really great for me to see how I stand against some of the best quarterbacks in the state.
Yeah, no, I was there, and, in my opinion, I think you had the hookup with the kid from Mililani. That was probably the best hookup of the camp for a TD, and ultimately the kid goes on and gets the MVP of the camp, maybe in part because of that throw. So I bet that was fun.
It was really fun. Kealakehe Timoteo is a great wide receiver, great speed, great size, amazing hands, and it was just one of those plays, you know.
Yeah. And we came up just short in hooking up with Cameron a couple of times, man. I thought that was looking good. Cameron snuck in. We talked with Cameron about sneaking in on the 7-on-7 there, and boy, it was so close to getting a big BIIF hookup there. But let's talk about this season. You come in as a third-year starter at QB, and you've got to feel pretty good about where you are. How does the offense look? How do you feel going into the season?
The offense looks really good. We're really hitting on all cylinders, as long as offensive linemen, wide receivers, running backs, all working as a cohesive unit. So it looks really good.
Yeah, and you have a few weapons back as well in terms of, Alapaki's back, Chance is back, Caleb is back, James is back. So you got some guys that you're familiar with. I'm sure that's going to help during the season.
Yeah, it helps a lot. Alapaki especially, he's a great deep threat. He's a good possession receiver, and even James Stone. James is a good route runner, works really hard on all his routes, and we just have a great, phenomenal running back with Chase, and he's going to do a great job this year.
I was talking to Chase the other day. I thought it was going to be a breakout season for him. Now, Alapaki, one of the things about him is that he racks up numbers. He doesn't necessarily score touchdowns. He's big, but he gets you down there and sets you up, and that's a big part of it. So if you looked at the TD numbers, they weren't much. But as far as receptions, yards, they stacked up with anybody for sure.
Yeah, he was hardworking, catch deep balls, take the hits, get us down within the 5. And he wasn't someone to go and score all the touchdowns, but he was grateful, and he was a hard worker for us last year. So I look to see him having a lot of big numbers again this year.
The Micah to Alapaki connection was important for the Warriors in 2013, and we expect it to be important for the Warriors of 2014. The Warriors also expect running back Chase Penaku to have a big year and lead the Warrior rushing attack.
There you go. Right here. Go, Penaku.
Kamehameha will rely on big number 51, Pono Davis, to anchor their defensive line. Whether it's putting pressure on the quarterback, stripping the ball, or disrupting in the backfield, Pono looks to lead the Warrior defense.
After a disappointing third-place finish last year, don't be surprised to see Kamehameha representing the Big Island in the state football tournament. Now let's head up the Hamakua coast to Honokaa and talk to new Dragon head coach Morgan Hanohano.
Okay, Coach Thane here at Honokaa with new head coach Morgan Hanohano. And Coach, it wasn't too long ago that the Honokaa Dragons were actually the champions of Division I. Been a few years. Changed to Division II. Dwindling numbers, kind of fell on hard times a little bit. Last year wasn't much fun for the Honokaa Dragons, but now you're in charge, new head coach, a little new energy. How do you feel about the team this year?
Oh, the team's awesome. The boys got, they got that heart. They come out every day. They're suited up about half an hour to 45 minutes before practice even starts. Team's looking good. They're just awesome kids. They got that team ethic going down. I mean, I feel confident about the team, and they're just awesome kids, just really awesome kids.
Now, as far as senior leadership, we've got a few kids coming back that I know, but who are you looking to in terms of senior leaders?
Senior leaders, I'm looking at really all of them. They're on that field and they're working hard every day. We got Sione Epinesa, Kamehameha Richards, Kelsey Kaniho, Josh Perry, Paul Purdy, Hans and Mario as linemen, and they're taking that leadership seriously on that line. Big boys, and they're gonna be out there and they're gonna do some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the record last year, how things went, Sione and Richards and so forth, these guys always stood out on film, so we don't expect anything different. What can we expect on offense? The last few years it's been more of an old school type grinded out offense. What's your philosophy?
Offense, as far as offense, we're going to spread it out on the field, depending on who we scout and what team we play. But you're going to see some balls in the air. We are going to that passing game, spread, and we also got that power runner. So we'll be doing both. We'll be running and passing.
Well, that makes a video guy happy when he hears about the passing game and highlights. Now, because of the storm and so forth, you don't get that early preseason contest. They were talking about a scrimmage. Have you got anything worked out so you get some little action before the first game?
Actually, scrimmaging, we'll be getting together with Kohala this week here at Honokaa. Okay. So we'll scrimmage Kohala, kind of help each other out. And then next week, Friday, we got Baldwin coming, Hilo High. Coach Baldwin is coming out. We had an agreement, so we'll be helping each other out on next week Friday also.
Now, Coach Morgan has put some excitement back into the Dragon football program, so much so that they're going to field a JV team this year. But let's take a look at some of the key players we expect to perform for the Dragons at the varsity level.
You certainly don't expect your starting tackle and linebacker to be returning kickoffs for touchdowns, but that's the type of athlete that Honokaa has in Kamehameha Richards, and they look for big things from him in the 2014 season. Just a freshman last year, Keaau Swift was an all-league linebacker, and the Dragons expect more of the same from him in 2014. The Dragons will rely heavily on four-year starter, senior Sione Epinesa, to perform all over the field, special teams, offense, defense, whatever it takes. Here we see Sione from the quarterback position hooking up with Nainoa Falk.
With Coach Morgan and his staff coaching up the new-look Dragons, there doesn't appear to be an easy win anywhere in the BIIF this season. With that being said, Kamehameha looks like the favorite to take the top seed in Division II, with Kona and HPA battling it out to see who's going to be the other representative in the championship game. Well, that's our preview of the 2014 BIIF football season. We certainly expect it to be an exciting and competitive one. Follow all the BIIF football action at sportsviz.com and BigIslandSports.com. Aloha and mahalo for watching.